Here's what would happen if someone ignored the laws of gravity. When you violate the laws of gravity, the world becomes a very dangerous place. You might think that you could just jump really high and fly like Superman, but it doesn't quite work like that. In fact, you'd probably just hurt yourself a lot. In an altered gravitational field, objects no longer obey the laws of physics as we know them. They may drift or float in unexpected ways. If you were to let go of an object in free fall, it wouldn't just fall to the ground. It would do something far more chaotic. Objects can float when gravitational forces are significantly reduced. In a zero-gravity environment, they would simply float away from you. Without gravity, there is no up or down. Objects will continue to move in the direction they are moving until something else pulls them back. So if you tried to jump on the moon, you'd actually be floating away from the Earth forever, unless you had a spacesuit to bring you back down. And if you were on a planet with stronger gravity than Earth, you'd be pulled towards the ground much faster than you could ever jump. When gravity is altered, objects lose their predictable motion patterns and instead move in erratic ways. So don't try this at home because it doesn't end well. Here are some things that would happen if you ignored the laws of gravity. If you were to jump up, you'd be met with a force so strong that it would crush your bones. If you tried to fly backwards, you'd be violating the law of conservation of momentum and your body would just spin out of control. If you were in a car, you could drift or even float away from the road. If you jumped out of a plane mid-flight, you would not be able to control your descent and you'd be met with an extremely rough landing. If you were on a boat, you could quite literally float away from the deck. If you threw a ball into the air, it might not come back down. It would just keep going up and up and up. If you were to step off a ladder while it's in motion, you'd experience a sudden jolt as your body tried to stay still while the ladder moved. If you were in a room with a low ceiling, you could experience a phenomenon known as floating. This happens when the gravitational force is significantly reduced. If you were in an area with altered gravity, you might take a step and suddenly find yourself on a completely different trajectory than you intended. If you were to drop an object in a varying gravity, its inertia would change, causing it to behave erratically. If you were in a place where gravity was much weaker than usual, you'd probably lose all sense of your normal motion patterns and just kind of get lost in space. If you were in a zero-gravity environment, you'd be met with pure chaos. Your limbs would be heavy and hard to move, and you'd be at the mercy of whatever forces happened to be acting on you at the time.